Howdy folks, it's Johan, your favorite little ink blob, back at it today with some more magic. And it is Stonks Day. Time to buy some gems for money. Or, I mean, we could just do gems with gems, but I believe it's pretty much always strictly better to do it this way. And hey, that means if we do build back up to a quick draft, we're only 70 gems away from getting that sweet, sweet Mastery Pass, which I really want to do because it's good value for me at this point. It does set us back a little bit, but I think we should be able to do that before it ends. Apologies for the late start today. I may or may not have spent like 30 minutes agonizing over writing something because, hey, I don't know how relatable that is, but sometimes trying to find the right words is blah. Oh my god. Thank you. I was still in email writing mode. How's it going, Uno? Boop, boop, bah. That's gonna be magic times. Standard shenanigans. Some say hi. Thank you for pointing that out, Uno. Back with some more magic. Magic does have orbs, so that one can stay. One moment, let me finish getting that all updated. Magic Arena, MTGA, standard. I guess, yeah, we can keep orb. I like orb. I'll show you the orb in a moment. Oh, you can update category midstream. Okay, I had read somewhere that you couldn't. No, Magic does have orbs. Or at least Magic Arena does. See? Orb. You get, oh, I don't have any currently, but you get Mastery Orbs, which you can spend on making cards and your deck look pretty. So there are orb. I don't know if Arena has them, but there are also some cards that are orbs, like Zurin Orb and Mesmeric Orb. Polygraph Orb. So it can tell whether or not you're lying. The orb knows your mind. Oh, we only have one true orb on Arena? Sad. No, there is a long and storied history. There's a Chaos Orb. Oh, yeah. That is super fair. I very much feel that. So, no worries. You are never obligated to them. It's always fun to hang out, but sleep, I will always say, is more important than watching me do things. Yeah. Oh, it's great having you around, but please get good sleep over watching me have my mind melt at Baba. Hopefully, yeah, tomorrow I think what I'm gonna do is start doing 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So my normal magic start time towards about halfway through when I typically do Baba. And basically I'll be starting off with a bit of magic, and then I'll probably noodle around with a couple Baba levels in the middle there, so closer to probably right around when my magic stream would normally end, maybe a little earlier. That's pretty much what I'm doing, right? Just mixing it around a little bit to one that will hopefully work better. But yeah, no, I definitely have, I've got people that are in a similar zone to me where the sort of afternoon end of things should actually probably be a little later so they aren't at their jobs or at school if they're trying to watch. And then I've got also a number of y'all folks that are over in Europe where starting earlier is better. It's like, it's fun having a lot of folks, but time, the internet makes things strange for that. But yeah, so there will probably be some Baba closer to, so if they typically end around 1 a.m. for you, so that would be right, because 4, so you're +9, so I'll probably be doing little bits and pieces of Baba closer to around like 9 p.m. for you starting tomorrow. is probably when that will slot in, because I figure it'll probably be sort of start off Magic. At some point when the vibes run out, switch over to sort of noodling around. Do Wordle, do Baba is You, do a lap or two of whatever, to sort of feel the vibes, and then switch over after about an hour or so of that to doing like the big afternoon game dealio. So that is the thought. I will be putting that in Discord to update, and we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try. I don't know how well I'll do with it, but that is the thought. That is the attempt. Alrighty. Think what I'm going to be starting out with today is a little bit. I have not actually done my Wordle yet today. I'm very terrible. I typically do my Wordle like minutes before midnight changes. If I do it at all. Tarnwiesel. Interesting. I think that's a mulligan. Can maybe make this work. This is a very goofy little aggressive angel deck that someone else put together that I didn't have quite the pieces. Got in 5? Nice! That is not bad. I think the best I've ever done is getting it in 2. I don't think I will ever get it in 1 because I like to choose perhaps not the most normal of starting words. Huh, okay. Sounds like you actually have proper strategy for it. We really could have used a land there. An evangelist? Hey, theft is also a strategy. Ooh, Imidane's Recruiter. Yikes. Ah, I bid ye do. Don't get enough colors, you do story too. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that ado would work, because that is one of those loan words that we've borrowed from the French. So we definitely attack here because vigilance does not matter. But hold on, so that's going to be... So that's 3, 6, at least. 11, 14, 17, 22, and then 26. So we definitely need to... We can block there, so yeah. There's a Baba Wordle? Huh. Intriguing. Yeah, we really would have loved more land, but 5 lifelink should help. Oh, in the game? Oh, and does it update daily? Because that would be rad. Second Sanguine Evangelist, so they are really building up for something spooky. If we draw a land so we can run out Aurelia, that would be pretty sweet. The fact that that's Vigilant is going to make... Oh, so he has to manually update it? That's a big ask, but good for them. It's a pretty good one, all things considered. I think we just take 6 here. This is going to be real painful. So, we could make a big Archangel, shoot one of the Evangelists, gain some life. We could also run out Aurelia. Yes, we got the land. This is a real big problem, because I don't think we actually have any, like, hard removal in our deck. We just sort of rely on being big. Big. They are. Yeah, if we'd drawn the land 1 earlier, I think we would have been pretty okay, but puzzle indie games? Yes. So we're gonna snipe an Evangelist and make another big life linker. This way we can double block? Well, then we're like 10 to 15 bucks. Yeah. They aren't huge AAA games trying to scrape probably more money out of you than they should. The Warden grows. Actually, we might not even be able to double block it here. It's just growing so fast. So they can... No, okay. We will be able to double block it. Because we'll only have 11 toughness. Yeah, okay. So if they attack, we double block, and we get to rescuers. Okay. Because we know what they have in hand. We want them to make this attack. They get to eat one of our Archangels, but we'll replace it with a 4/4 Angel, and we gain 11, and the big problem is dead, and they are not going to be able to outpace us. Okay. Especially because we're going to slam an Aurelia. Yo, that was very good for us. Okay. Gyata is a messed up card. But yeah, no, that's... I think... I really love, particularly, games that... I need to be better. I don't exactly have a fantastic income right now. Looks at the fact that I'm streaming. So, you know, I need to be better about actually donating to the, like, pay what you want games. There are a couple that I have on my list, and I'm like, as soon as I actually, like, have a steady career, I will absolutely be kicking money back into. But I really love that as a concept. And I think a lot of those are... A lot of the ones that use that model are very clearly works of love. These are things that people really care about and are just happy to be putting out there. Which I think is really neat. And I think I've seen a number of puzzle games that seem to sort of operate on that basis. We're drawing all of our red sources that work for angels, but not for our burn spells. Which is a little awkward. This seems like it's probably the life gain deck? No, Orzhov Control. Interesting. So they're going to have wraths and such, but we just have to deal with that, I suppose. Oh, I'm trying to remember... There's one game that I found that I really loved, and I'm completely blanking on the name of it. That was one of those pay-as-you-go models. It was... You've got, like, a little Plague Doctor mask, and you're, like, healing up a big, like... some giant construct. Inner Life. That was it. It's just gorgeous little game, puzzle game, that it was just something that folks did and they wanted to be out there, which is so, so cool. Okay, so we got to investigate, which is neat. I suspect that they're going to play a 5-mana Wrath. So do we run out the other Archangel, or do we just go for, like, Angel Fire, Ignition, gain some life, and still be progressing the board in case they don't Wrath it? I kind of like that. Let's diversify a little. Okay. Deadly Cover-Up! Who could have guessed? Oh, second Angel Fire Ignition is actually pretty sweet. So we could wait and try and give that haste. We slam it down now. That's 2 damage. And then we've got 3 and something that we can be putting Angel Fire onto. I think that's not terrible, actually. Draw another red source, we can Angel Fire and Lightning Helix. Not, we can Angel Fire and Crack a Clue. Another Archangel of Wrath is pretty good. I'm gonna try this. I assume they've got some sort of thing to screw that up. Void Rends. Okay. They got it. And we'll be able to crack the clue on their turn. This is rough because we can Archangel Angel Fire them if we draw another land, but... So they are Esper control. Jace the Perfected Mind, so they're going to try and mill us. And draw some cards. Okay. Draw a card. The fact that we do have burn like Lightning Helix is pretty strong. Okay, Battlefield Forge helps. Didn't necessarily want 2 of them. I think we Archangel and we try to kill the Jace. Rather than, like, Angel Firing. We could have sent that at their face, which would put them in a much more threatening position, but... Otherwise, the Jace sticks around and shrinks the Archangel, so I think it's kind of zero-sum on the damage. That was a tough one. The fact that they're cycling gives me a little hope, but they could still easily have, like, go for the throat or whatnot to just kill the Archangel. But if not, we get to Angel Fire Ignition, and we'll have Lightning Helix. We've got double Lightning Helix, so we just need... If I play this, they're going to have a removal spell either way, so we take a shot at this. But we just need to get in for the 3. Okay, they did have it. Damn. But while shields are down, we can Lightning Helix. And we weren't able to do the second one, so okay, I guess... Oh, that's right, because it likes to tap our Battlefield Forges early. Well, let's try an Aurelia. We would love for her to be able to smack their face. I suspect there's another removal spell. They love having removal spells. Okay, Memory Deluge, fishing for a removal spell. If they don't find one, I don't think we just slam the Lightning Helix, because they could very easily have counter magic, but we'll be looking for an opportunity to just deal that last 3 damage. Ah, okay. They're doing a good job of making it hard for us to kill them, which is very rude and very unfortunate. Just let our angels come save you. It will be fine. Don't worry about it. Realmbreaker just slowly grinding... Wow, double Aurelia down. That's sad, because that's one of our good hasty creatures. A Jace. Mill us a bunch more. Now they get to draw 3 cards? Jeez. So if we draw something cheap enough that we can Angel Fire, I mean, they're still gonna find a way to kill it, but I think that's our hope, or another burn spell. Oh, okay, we can Resplendent Archangel, or Resplendent Angel, my bad, not an Archangel. And we can try an Angel Fire Ignition. Removal. This is the problem with this card, yeah. I like Angel Fire Ignition in principle. There are some decks that can make it work really well, but there is a lot of good single target removal that can just get us. So, not it. It feels a little bit like playing an aura, and that's just not a good proposition in the current state of the game. This is where having creature lands would benefit this deck a bunch, and I believe the build that I was working off of did have those. I just don't happen to have the red-white creature lands, so not using them. They also gained 1 life, which is very problematic because that means we can't try to burn them out with 2 of our burn spells. So, that's rough. I think we have successfully lost. Restless Reef coming in. Milling us more. Yep, there goes 3 of our burn spells. Doop, 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 doop. At least we have Dwayne to keep us company. Our little pet rock. He'll never betray us. Ah, yeah, so here, if we'd drawn that sooner or whatnot, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see if they have, I mean, they might just hold on to the counterspell. They had the counterspell, so wouldn't have worked anyway. Sure, let's burn out the Jace. Yeah. So, control decks, very, very annoying that way. Where we had a lot of opportunities to potentially kill them, but they just have answers. I do enjoy this as an aggressive deck, though. It's fun to have some element of a, like, tribal strategy in the current standard, but I think this is very like Giada dependent in a lot of ways. I think Giada is what allows it to get above the curve of other aggressive decks. The burn is nice for closing out, feels a little reminiscent to mono red, but it's a little more mana hungry and slower. Oh no. It's fun, I'm enjoying changing it up. I believe it was Covert Go Blue who came up with the basic deck list, and I am trying to make it work with some pieces for the rares that I didn't have. So I think this is keepable. We turn 1 the Sundown Pass. Put in tapped. Wah. Ah, we are against mono red. This will be rough. Opponent? Warbage. Hello. There we go. Fugitive Codebreaker. Okay, glad to see. I'm glad to see this card actually being played in some of the decks. I like seeing newer cards actually showing up. I'm very excited for the red Slickshot Bird. I'm not confident how it's gonna work, but you know, it's Kiln Fiend-esque. Ah, play with fire hurts because now we can't try and get ahead on our curve, and prowess pumping up everything. Big anthem. Yeah, we're behind on our curve. We can run out the courtyard. We could play this. It's probably gonna die. I think our better bet is we try and lightning strike something. Hope we draw Archangel of Wrath, maybe? Phoenix Chick, okay. So buffing everything up. I think we're still dead, because that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We are technically alive. We can draw something that gives lifelink. Oh, it's 7? Wow, yeah, I miscounted there. But we are alive at 1. If they draw a land, and we draw Archangel of Wrath, we block there, we gain 3, we take 1, 2, 4, so we will still be dead. Is there anything that would save us? I think the answer is no. Opponent, you need to pass priority. Your foundry is still up. I don't think there's a way for us to survive. I still want to draw the card and think it over. Okay, there we go. That certainly does not do it. Yeah. Alrighty. Because, yeah, like, if we had Yada, we could have been Boonbringer Valkyrying, and things would have happened. We'll play a few more games with it, though, and then I want to play around more with the, black-red, Bone Brute? Hunted Bone Brute, I think that's what it's called. Deck that's trying to burn stuff out. Because, I don't know, I enjoy aggro. I've been having fun with Domain, but I enjoy getting back to doing some slightly speedier games. El Mimho? Not 100% sure on how to pronounce that. But hello, opponent. Cute little black dragon. Okay, so with the Phyrexian invasion, I understand why they were looking for some sort of very distinctive aesthetic, and for the white faction, the I guess Fair Basilica is just where things were, but the faction under Elesh Norn, Machine Orthodoxy, there we go. I understand why it's like the flesh and sort of like porcelain, right? That has been a long established norm for that faction. But why teeth? I don't think we'd seen teeth. Oh, I should have played this pre-combat for lifelink. Oh well. I don't get why teeth became a thing this time around. And I find teeth very unsettling as a motif. So, now I'm hearing that as motif, or like teeth, T-E-E-F, in a cutesy way. But, yeah, so, you know, it's, I don't understand that as a, oh, we're against dinosaurs? Well, we pre-combat Aurelia, because she's going to be way bigger. Let's give her lifelink. That equals 1 of your Hammer Skull hits. Yeah, it's, I don't know why the teeth motif. It's very unsettling, but, you know, that is the point, right? I suppose the point is to be unsettling. But, yeah, it's does a very good job. At least there aren't teeth on this battlefield, right? Just trees and grass made of flesh and sinew, but I'll survive. I can handle that. Virtue of Persistence is going to be too slow, yeah. I like the fight rigging decks. They're fun. They're too slow. Here's my caveat. If we get a 1 mana, if we get a Mana Dork, if we get a Llanowar Elves, I think they've got a shot. I think that's part of why they're able to do well in Explorer, or at least were for a while, with Emergent Ultimatum. It's because you can Llanowar Elf turn 1, and then turn 2 slam one of big creatures, turn 3 slam the fight rigging. That works. But it's too slow right now, because by the time you've gotten down your creature on turn 3, Boros has already, spewed most of its stuff onto the board. Mono Red has already dealt enough damage that they're getting close to burning you out. So, yeah, it's just not quite there, I don't think. A Phoenix Chick, and burn the Giada. No. We're drawing a lot of our burn. I would like to draw less burn and more angels, please, but we'll run this out. Hopefully we can start life linking up. Vigilance is also potentially respectable, but I get very spooked about combat tricks. Phoenix Chick. This is 100% a monstrosity dealio. So we can't block the Swift Spear, but let's block the Etching of Kumano. A Monstrous Monstrous Rage. Oh, play with fire? Okay. Unfortunate, so we could have blocked that. Well, okay, we play the red source so that we can double spell. We Helix away the Swift Spear now before they can try and rage onto it, because with the rage it gets a +2 bonus to toughness, so that we aren't able to burn it down. The Helix helps us with a bit of life. I want to burn the Phoenix Chick, but there's a non-zero chance that they're able to... I think we still do it, because we've got one other burn spell, so they aren't going to be able to re-trigger it anytime soon, getting it back from the graveyard with 3. Because we can try and make sure... and our one of Metropolis Reformer coming in, that's going to be pretty upsetting for them, I think. Because damage dealt to it gains me life, so even burning it out, they're not only not using that on my face, but gaining some life off of it. I'm gaining some life off of it. And, they also can't directly burn me out. So, love having that there. And it gets to just plink in the air with Vigilance. Alright. No need to burn there. God, this would be a lot better as a 5/4, but we get to keep up our burn spell, and we get to start gaining some life off of this, so I think that is a very good idea. I wonder if they have the Witchstalker Frenzy. Feels... if they did, I think they would have gone for it, but I guess they were cracking the blood? Don't know. Okay, Lightning Striking the Seraph. That's part of why it's a lot better as a 5/4, but that is alright for now. I think it was a worthwhile gamble. Okay, we just blink on in. We're kind of okay for now. I'm guessing that's a lot of burn in their hand. Giada is nice. We'll attack in first. But yeah, now we just want to rip angels. Okay, they play the Epicure. They won't be able to attack in with everything this turn to get the Phoenix Chick back. Question is, do I burn out one of their things now, just to prevent that next turn and be mana efficient? I think the answer is yes, because we're hoping to draw a big angel, and we want to prevent them from getting it. Okay, we draw a Lightning Helix, which is totally fine. Like that we have Vigilant Attackers. Lightning Helix can help deal with another threat, and gain us some life. Okay, we will absolutely kill Squee. They will be able to get back in a subsequent turn, but that shuts things down for a little bit. Angel Fire Ignition is quite good, particularly on the Metropolis Reformer, making it even tougher for them to do anything about it. Awesome. Because then they're going to have to spend multiple burn spells, which is going to gain even more life. Heck yeah. So, like, this is a very fun aggro deck that's anti-aggro, it feels like. Let's do, like, one more game. If we can get to Platinum 2 with it, that would be fun. Then we'll try burning some people out with Bone Brutes for a bit. Then call it a day for Magic, I think. Scriba. So, 3, 4, 5? It's probably too slow. I'm gonna try it. Still learning what is and is not fine with this deck. The fact that we only have... Our only real 2-drop is Giada is definitely rough. But, you know, we do have some burn spells and whatnot, so... It's not, like, completely ridiculous. It's just a little goofy. Steel Seraph. The, like, taxonomy of angels in Magic is very interesting. The fact that they aren't... Ooh, do we run... I think we run out the Giada off curve. Like, the fact that they aren't necessarily divine, that, like, we've seen on Innistrad, they're manufactured by Sorin, right? That on Mirrodin, or Phyrexia, or Dominar... Actually, I guess I forget. I'm not 100% clear on... Brothers War was on Dominaria, right? And I guess this is the Brothers War one. There was so much Phyrexian stuff I was forgetting, but, like, they're manufacturing angels. Which has just some very interesting... There's some interesting ramifications to what it means to be an angel then, right? If you can make an angel. I don't know. I find it neat. Discarding the temporary lockdown is an interesting choice. I suspect they have another Wrath in hand, but I think we still attempt to run out the Boonbringer Valkyrie. And we'll diversify a little bit. They did Field of Ruin our first Cavern of Souls, which hurts, but is what it is. I expect a Sunfall here. Depopulate, okay. Yeah. Control is a very tough matchup for this. This, I think, is going to have less single target removal than Esper, though, which does make a difference. We'll kick this once. It's just a threat. But yeah, against Control, you don't really get to snowball, right? You don't get to Giada and make, you know, a bunch of, like, 6, 7 lifelinkers. Because they just wipe the board, or snipe the Giada, or so on and so forth. So, I think this deck is a lot better positioned against the aggro. I think a lot of the aggro matchups feel like you're tossing a coin of whether or not you're going to beat the other aggro matchup. This one, I think you can feel pretty confident of how you're going to do, but you're very well positioned against them, but Control, you're just kind of too slow in most cases. So we could Angel Fire Ignition. We could Steel Seraph, Angel Fire Ignition, give it haste, kill the Jace. Because we can only deal 2 damage, because we don't have the Courtyard to get the double kicker on this. We could also just slam it and hope for the best, which feels bad, so I think we're going to try Angel Firing. This is not in CGB's version of the list, by the way, so all of the problems with it, don't fault them. This is just trying to make something work. Get lost? Ah, that is counterable. Yerp. I I think it has its situations. I think again in the aggro matchup it's good, but in the control deal, no. Because they will have a way. They will have a counterspell, they will have something to kill the creature you're putting it on. Because it gives indestructible, but at sorcery speed, and there's a chance to respond to it. There's the sunfall. Yeah, I think that's this game. Like, if we draw Aurelia, maybe? Well, I guess they did the -2, so we'll stick it out a little. Wait, this let me do double kicker off Cavern? Does that work? Is kicker... I thought kicker was an ability. Have I been fundamentally misunderstanding that? Kicker. You may pay an additional cost as you cast the spell? Oh, so it is part of the spell cost. Okay. I did fundamentally misunderstand that. No complaints. We'll try an Angel Fire. I'm sure it will get countered or something will get killed. What you got, opponents? Exiling it. Alright. So... Okay. Yeah, they're just on Drago. They're at a high enough life total. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this game. I don't love early concessions, but against control, I think there are definitely some faces. Like, if this was Boros, okay, sorry, this is Boros. If this was Boros aggro, that's a deck that I know a lot better. I probably would have stuck it out another turn or two, but that was fairly confidently dead. Yeah, we'll try the little fling deck. I believe Legend VD cooked this one up. Um, feels very fun. It's very bursty. I don't know if it's the... don't know how competitive it actually is, but I find it very fun. It feels very cool when you get Bob off. It's not quite there because I didn't have enough Voldarin Thrill Seekers. I forget what I filled them in with, but this hand is rough because we don't actually get to turn 1 the Cacophony Scamp. I think I'm gonna mulligan. So we get to turn 1 Cliffs Cacophony Scamp, turn 2 tap, second Cacophony Scamp, and then we can start going. I think we ditch a Codebreaker then. Ooh, that's pretty nice. But yeah, so like with that Angel deck, at that point, while we can get our stuff down and it won't be countered, they still are going to have some... we can't get the snowballing that we need to happen to actually make stuff work, so I'm not going to string it out. Here, I do think we attack, holding up Monstrous Rage. I assume they don't block, because even if they do block... this would still kill it anyway, because it gets to deal 1 and 1. But we will pump it up and deal a total of 6 to them and kill their early play. So they are the Gruul double strikey build, I'm guessing. Next turn, we will face down the Bone Brute. Yeah, with the... Wait, I guess? I don't know. With the Beast Collar? Well, okay. We'll disguise this out. I mean, this... Ozolith. Are they Gruul big things? That's kinda rad if they are. I'm here for it. Okay, well, we can turn the Bone Brute face up. We would have loved to have the Pyrotechnic one, but we will survive. We will do Kumano. We deal 1 to them. 6 goes in. When this dies, they take 3, so they're really kind of down to 4. And we will Cacophony Scamp. They need to double block this so other things can sneak on through, like the Fugitive Codebreaker. Although we might try face downing it, depending on what we draw, so that we can try and dig into more stuff. Their own Voldarid Thrill Seeker! Yo! Oh, this is... Okay, this is really cool. This is really neat. Oh god, because so they can sack the Thrill Seeker, deal a damage to the Cacophony Scamp so that I can't block? But then that leaves them super vulnerable. Oh, why would you put it there rather... You could have given it Trample, right? If they put Trample here, they would have won. Oh, but it... Hang on. Oh, and now they get the sack... That was neat. That... Oh, I don't think I have the pieces to make that work, but that's a really cool... That's basically a Gruul version of what this deck is doing. Because, yeah, so aggro has to be a lot burstier. That's why you see Recruiter being such a big part of stuff. Boros, I think, is actually kind of the least bursty. It's still, like, accruing value, but, I mean, aggro has to be burstier to survive the card quality of the control decks these days. And that is a really cool take on the Gruul Picnic Ruiner. Although, who knows? I don't think I've ever played against the Gruul deck when it didn't have the Picnic Ruiner start killing me way too friggin' fast, so... Maybe that's just always been part of it, and I'm a fool. Okay. Different turn 1, we need to kill that Rot Priest when we're only taking 1 poison off of it. Like, I don't love doing that, but I've played enough Bant Toxic to know you kill the Rot Priest. You will not outpace it. So here I'll do Kumano and Mask Maker. And then hopefully we can... Well, we will be able to face down the Performer next turn anyway. It would be cool to face down it and flip it up or hold up one of these things. And they concede. Okay. The Mask Maker too powerful. Mask Maker, make me a mask. Dasha. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I think bursty games add a very interesting dimension to Magic because it adds a lot more uncertainty. Though I think I tend to have a lot more fun and play better when um, we are in an environment that's more like value accrual. Don't know. So, could turn one a Mask Maker, which might let us turn to the Bone Brute, but there's a very reasonable chance that we don't draw an untapped land, so maybe we Kumanos? But no, I think we try that. I think there's very good potential upside, and if not, we're still just like running out a Kumano, and then something later. Swift Spear. They're leaving it back on blocks. We don't attack in since we aren't actually going to get value off of it this turn, though we could because they would just bounce off. So if I guess it would bounce off anyway, so I guess that was less about... That's fair. I was overthinking that. I was like, oh, why would they leave it back to... No, it's just because theirs bounces off of mine, so of course they don't attack. Might as well save themselves the damage. Well, here we will attack. Yep. And then we get to disguise out the Bone Brute, which will be a 7/3 if we get to flip it up. We would love to draw another land. Like, we're a very low-cost deck that wants to be doing a lot of things in a turn. No blocks. Oh yeah, kill our Mask Maker, please. I'm totally fine with that. We might want to just run out the Performer. They'll probably find a way to kill it. But that adds a lot of value. Okay, so we can flip this up and just get them for 7. No, yeah, we hold it up. I think we need that extra value. We hold off on that so we don't show it to them to inform their decisions. I would love if they blocked there. But I'm basically betting that I can deal more damage to them. We could also just Monstrous Rage trample over at this point. And then Kumanos. I actually kind of like that. Like, that's a fair bit of damage. That's just slowed down their aggression. But now do we Scamp or Kumano? I think we Kumano. Even if we might not get the counter value off of it, we are probably trying to play the Pyrotechnic Performer. Main deck Urabrask's Forge. I've been playing around with this. I think it's just often too slow. I'm glad that we didn't run out the Performer, because it would have just died. Okay. Another Bone Brute. Well, we will... Well, okay, so we can hit them for 6. If we run out double Cacophony Scamp, that's another 3 damage. And we get to trade with some of their stuff. Pyrotechnic Performer is cooler and burstier, but I think Cacophony Scamp gets it done better. Because I'm very happy to block with those, whereas the Performer we're probably trying to keep around. And this gives us a lot better defense because we can also snipe some stuff. Okay, Kumano. Yeah, we live and we kill them. So Trample is going to hurt. We aren't going to bother blocking that. So what if we block here? We go to 1. So what if we... Okay, what if we block here? And then we snipe the land? No, wait, what am I saying? We snipe their face. So this doesn't matter. We block there. We deal 3 to their face. And then we swing in for easily enough. Okay. Yeah, this deck, we haven't seen it today. It can do some very serious damage. We've been going a little bit slower than I think it likes to, but still loving it. Loving it lots. Tyrannid. Okay. Mask Maker, turn 2 Bone Brute, hopefully. I think that's a pretty good plan if we can manage it. Mask Maker. Bone Brute, please. Warden. Okay, we're up against Boros, which is certainly not a simple one, but we do that, we get to Bone Brute. Bone Brute is a little worse against Boros since they have so many things that can block, but oftentimes they're using them as much as possible. Like here, I assume they're going to tap all 3 things for Warden. Which means we get to... Okay, so we would have loved a land there, but we will get to turn this face up, attack them for 7, and then we can next turn, like Callous Sellsword means they're going to take 9, essentially, right? So they got aggressive, so they've got something to back up. Okay, but here, ooh, and we draw the land. So what we do here, I think we have them dead because we play with fire, the bat. So now this can't be blocked. It's as menace. This attacks in. They take 6. And then we Callous Sellsword. Sacking this. They take 6 from that. And then they take an additional 3 when it dies. Hooah! So that is a good example of how quickly this deck can simply dish out murder. Boros is a very fast deck. We were on the play there, which was a significant advantage. We would have probably been dead otherwise. That's sort of what I'm talking about with the earlier with aggro decks. A lot of them, it feels like a throw of the dice when you're matched up these days, but yeah, so that was a situation where if they had left their stuff back, that would have been a very hard game for us, right? We would have needed to get the other Bone Brute out, which would have taken a lot of time because we weren't drawing the mana and so on and so forth. But because they made that attack and we drew that mana, we drew the red source, we were able to clear it out and deal, that was 6 plus 6 plus 3. So 15 damage over the course of 1 turn. And you can do that turn 3 if they haven't played anything. So it's spooky. We've got decent mana here. We don't have early plays, which is kind of sad, but we can... We're holding up a play with fire, which either kills one of their things, or lets us scry one. Okay, this will kill one of their things, because even though it's probably not blocking, it might block. Really would have loved a 2-drop, so this is awkward. This is us sitting around with our pants down, but we'll still get to run out some Bone Brutes, which are pretty scary threats. Ah, even scarier when we've got a Callous Sellsword. The biggest problem with Callous Sellsword is that it doesn't sacrifice as part of the cost. I'm assuming this was intentional design to make it a tougher thing, because it's like a fight effect. It targets the creature, and then it deals its damage to something else. So if they can kill it in response, it fizzles, because then there's not a valid target. Ancestral Anger, nice. They're going big. No blocks. So future ancestral angers are gonna hurt. We can flip this up. Hold up. Do we have lethal? Because, so 6, 9, hit for 9, sack for another 9, they take 3. Yep, we've got him dead. Because we have double red? Yes. So this is what this deck can do that's very scary, especially because you don't actually know for sure it's a Bone Brute under there, so, you know, this could have just been a very small and kind of forgiving turn. But instead we were able to deal 21 damage. Oh boy. It's like, Toxic is also very bursty. I think Toxic is a lot better against the control decks because you have a lot more interaction. But I don't think Toxic is as fast as this deck. It can kill you out of nowhere in the same way, right? Because, you know, they've got a Rot Priest on the field, and then a March of Swirling Mists, or 2 March of Swirling Mists, right? And they do it 1 on the end of your turn, and then 1 on their turn, and boom, they've counted it dead. So I don't know. There's some very cool stuff. I'm enjoying a lot of the aggro meta. I'm enjoying Domain. I think there's a lot of very cool decks to be had in this format. We're gonna see if we can Mask Maker. The fact that we are on the draw against Boros, leading off with a Warden, is very spooky. Especially if this is the reinforcements. Okay, nope, something similar. Actually a little more efficient. But if they tap all 3 and they don't have a follow-up play, I'm a little less spooked. Okay. Even if they smite there, I don't know why they would be running Elspeth's smite, but they could be. This puts us in a pretty good position. Okay, Evangelist. Little rougher because now we don't get to attack in for a bunch unless they tap down. Oh, they don't know. They're gonna attack. Yeah. Yes. Yes, opponent. I mean, they can dish out a lot, don't get me wrong. But we turn this face up, and then we attack with just it. They go to 13. If they play Imidane's Recruiter, we take 5, 8, 11, 11, 14, and then, okay, but we can block if they do that, because they're not going to have a 1 mana removal spell. So we'll then be able to probably polish them off with Codebreaker and... So maybe we don't Kumanos. Do we? No, we don't Kumano. We Mask Maker. So that we've got an additional attacker or blocker. If they're smart, what they do here is they pump up Warden, give it Vigilance, and just go slow. Oh, the double Aiganjo hurts. This is why I typically do only run the, like, 1 of. Killing Bone Brute, okay. This is more what they were supposed to be doing. That puts them in a much better spot. Case of the Gateway Express, I think, is also... I think things that make Boros what it is. No, actually, hold on, let me... We do survive this turn, right? I guess we can... We should kill that so that they don't get Anthem, but they're going to Anthem anyway. So we want to just keep as much around for potential damage as possible, I suppose. Is there anything we can draw that will let us? Certainly not that. Alright, they got us. Things that I think make Boros what it is. Gleeful Demolition, I think, is honestly the most important card in it, because the most iconic start, the scariest start from Boros Convoke, is the turn 1 Epicure or Inspector. There's multiple of those. There's also a Siren, so like there are ways to make it work. The fact that they're in red and white is very convenient for some of the things that you want to be playing, but there are a number of things. I don't think those are necessarily I don't think those are necessarily like weird exceptions. I think those are replaceable pieces. There are other ways to find that. It's the Gleeful Demolition that you play one of those two pieces into Gleeful Demolition, and then are turn 2 able to convoke out the Knight Errant. That is so spooky, because then you're digging, you're refilling your hand. It's a very aggressive start. That has also replaced not the board presence, but it's replaced itself in your hand. So even if control is able to lock down you or wipe you super early, you haven't lost as much as a lot of other decks would at that point, like mono green. At that point, you've played your adaptive and then your sharp-eyed rookie. They lock down you, and now you play a sentinel. Cool. Um, it's just you're in a much worse position because now those cards are out of your hand. Maybe you can get them back in green because you can destroy that, but then they depopulate in Sunfall and da-da-da-da-da. So Gleeful Demolition, the fact that it makes 3 rather than 2 is huge. I think Case of the Gateway Express is a very important piece of it because it allows you to clear a very big blocker and be advancing your strategy. This, for an uncommon, does a huge amount. Because it's typically used defensively, but it's also a defensive piece that is offensive. And then Imidane's Recruiter, allowing you to just burst out of nowhere. It's not out of nowhere. Basically, you play against Boros, always assuming that they have the Imidane's Recruiter in hand. But yeah, I think those are the 3 pieces. I don't know. Like, Case of the Gateway Express, I think you can get by without it. Maybe. It's just, I think it's a markedly worse deck without it. A lot of when I was playing it, like 2 months ago, people were playing Case or War Leader's Call, and I always felt a lot better against the decks that were running War Leader's Call and not the Case, because I knew that I was going to be able to pick off some of their critical pieces and they weren't going to be able to pick off some of mine. Okay, Kumano into Performer Codebreaker, I think is fair. Blue. Okay. Waiting to see what you've got. Actually, I guess we didn't have that. I should have thought about that a bit more, because that's a potentially tapped land. Atakar Wastes. So, probably blue-white control, so this is going to eat a counterspell. No More Lies. Yes. Okay. No More Lies is messed up. It's given blue-white decks, it's given control decks a reasonable 2-drop that hurts a lot. Like, Make Disappear hurt, but I didn't feel like it was as screwed up as No More Lies is. No More Lies just kind of, I think, does too much for what it is. But, the aggro decks are also scary. Like, I get that control players need a piece too. I've played control, I understand that is not... I understand that it has its place. It's not an auto win, but God, this card feels like a lot more than what more aggressive strategies are able to do. Like, even if it didn't exile, maybe. I don't know. 3 is a lot. Getting to exile is a lot. It's a lot. Here, I imagine there's probably a Get Lost or something. But we can attack and probably should have played the red source, come to think of it. Wandering Emperor. Okay. They can try exiling the etchings or make a 2/2 and block. What you gonna block? We will Monstrous Rage. And we will turn it face up, deal 5 to them. 6, sorry. And trample over. They are now at 3. So we can attack through and then... Okay. Yes, they have that. So we've got Play with Fire, which helps, but we need a little more damage. Ah, and they'll get to uptick, make that small. Mask Maker, not really what we're looking for. Let's Play with Fire while they're tapped out. Scry. Not that, certainly. We'll run out the Mask Maker. Not looking good. Lockdown. Good shot. What would do well for us here? Fugitive Codebreaker would draw us... Would it actually draw us anything? Sokenzan. Yeah, because we couldn't quite do that yet, but interesting. So we can channel that. They're not going to be able to do anything about the channel. So I think we actually do just attack in. Ignore the Jace. They might have a piece of removal. But, like, we have... Okay. And they had to take a damage off their land. So, Jace downticks. But now if we draw any haste or our Play with Fire, Callous Sellsword would not work because it's going... No, they milled us. Because they're trying to draw into solutions. They've got to have something in hand already to deal with this. Otherwise, they've mucked themselves. Pyrotechnic Performer is going to do it, I think. Because we get to attack in, they have to have an answer. If they don't, we Performer. So an answer is going to take enough mana to tap them out of No More Lies. And then we get to Performer. And we flip it up, Zot them for 3. Okay. That was an interesting one. That was very interesting. But that's... Monstrous Rage is very good in this because we have so much power-based extra damage. But I think it's being run at a reasonable level. Like, I don't think you want to do other big pump tricks with this because you want to make sure that you actually have the creatures to play them on. Here, we can hopefully... Okay, we're up against Boros, but hopefully we get to Mask Maker, Bone Brute, and then, like, do some Performer shenanigans with them. Human. So they are going to flash into 1/1s, but that's okay because we care more about our curve. They didn't. I'm astounded. Okay, they did, but they didn't feel like trading with the Mask Maker, which is concerning. Knight Errant, okay. This is tough. So, running out the Performer... Okay, no, never mind. I was going to say, like, oh, we can attack in, but no. Here we do run out the Performer. We don't attack in with Mask Maker for it. Okay, so if we disguise the Performer, we get to next turn, pay 1, 3 them, pay 2, 6 them. They're at 9, then we have 1 mana left over to Callous Sellsword, 6 plus 3. Yeah, so This guarantees a little extra damage, so long as we aren't forced to block, but even if they Imidane's Recruiter, we can chump there with the Mask Maker, and I think we'll still be fine. And that's assuming no attacks. Assuming that I don't get to attack. So I think we have 18 points of burn sitting around. Right? So 3, 6, 6, and 3. No blocks. You are dead. So I don't think you have any life gain in there. Boop, boop, boop. Nice. And tap 3 things. Grow it. Very reasonable. Like, as the Boros player, I would be feeling fantastic right now. We need to flip this up first. Bam. Okay. I think that this deck also does... I don't know. I don't know how it would fare in best of 3. I'm still not very familiar with that as a format, and that's one that I need to mess around with more. I should try playing some aggro decks in that. I don't know what your sideboard would be, and I think there's a lot of things opponents could do. Like, I think there's a number of decks that have like Long Goodbye for the control matchups to kill the lands, which is actually really good against us because then you've got early ways to kill off our disguised creatures. I think we'll do like 2 more matches of this, so this one and like 1 more game, depending on how quick they are, and then we'll call it for Magic for the day. But we've been having some fun. We've been making some headway with some aggro. Turn 1, burn them, scry. Turn 2, Codebreaker, go from there, probably. Nope, turn 1, Kumano. Very happy with that, and they're gonna think we're red. Tranquil Cove, so I'm guessing this is a budget blue-white control. But they have the budget for some fancy lands. So I'll keep up the illusion that we're mono red. I'm guessing this will get countered though. Boop 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 boop. Yeah. Okay. Get lost? Maybe? I feel like they have to have something. Impulse. Okay. Okay. Spark Rupture. I have never seen this card. Each planeswalker with 1 or more loyalty counters on it loses all abilities and is a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of loyalty counters on it. Okay, but that's a timestamp thing, right? So that's not going to affect if they then play a planeswalker. It's not going to do that, right? What is this card from? This is... Oh, it's from Aftermath. Oh, when it's on the battlefield, they will enter. Weird, okay. Sorry, I had to do some reading on that. We will attack in. We'll try running out the Pyrotechnic Performer. I'm worried. But, so this is... What in the world? Oh, God, I was reading the when it enters as part of that condition, so no, that makes more sense. We do this, we'll be able to turn it face up for 4 damage. Okay, so it's like, oh, what's the card? Opalescence? For enchantments. So I'm sensing a Wandering Emperor, but so they can flash in a Wandering Emperor. It's a 4/4. So if we deal 4, it trades, or they block there, and then we kill them. Like I give this a shot. What a wonky card. Yep, Wandering Emperor. Oh, it's a 3/3.
Now you've done it. That's coming off.
Thought it entered as 4, but okay. So no, we don't have them dead because we don't have the red mana to do everything in one turn. Do we... Yeah, no, we let this happen. Oh, wait. Right, because we still get to attack through. I was counting on them blocking. Interesting. I would have loved to see what the opponent was cooking up with that. That is a very strange card. Certainly interesting for a control mirror. I don't know how to feel about that. So we'll make this the last game, but I'm intrigued. I applaud the opponent for trying to do some interesting stuff. Whenever I try and do interesting stuff, it always turns out very poorly, so I still need to work on my deck building skills. I can build limited decks, but I cannot for the life of me figure out how to... The cards that I want to build around in Constructed typically require too many moving parts and are just not actually... They're not good pet cards to have. Okay. So this is either Toxic or Green-White Enchantments. So we're going to Cacophony Scamp, which makes it bigger, which is actually pretty good, and play with fire while Skrelv can't protect things. And then we can do some face-downing shenanigans. Okay. Yes, this is enchantments. Well, we happily attack with both. Because even if they run out a Calyx, we're not too afraid. We will not. Then we'll do Bone Brute, so that we might... We'd love to draw a land and run out Pyrotechnic Performer, face up, 6 them, deal an extra 6 because they don't have blockers. That's like our ideal here. Okay. Ossification on Scamp or Etchings. Okay. Or on both, I suppose. Fair enough. Sick. Performer. 6. Attack for 6. And then next turn, we've got an extra 3 damage in hand, even if they manage to deal with our board. They might be able... They're not going to be able to do a lot of life-linking stuff, though, if they also deal with our board. Ossification, double it up, which is just going to leave them 1 mana. I mean, this has always been kind of sick and very, very gross. But yeah, I think we've got them. Really had us in the first half, but There we go. All right. We were kind of zooming there. Might actually make it into diamond with this. It's it's a very interesting one. I think I haven't seen a lot of other people playing it. But I mean, like, again, big props to Legend VD for that deck. That is something that I had not thought of. I kind of looked at Bone Brute and went, no, that's not, and Disguise Creatures, that's not going to be enough. But with the Callous Sword and pumping them up, I hadn't thought about that interaction. Huge difference. Cacophony Scamp, everything in that deck works together like a treat. Here, while I'm talking about it, no, there we go. Oh, that's right. I did it. So it's got a Trot. I should probably fix that. What I was trying to do originally before I went screw it, let's just go with what Legend VD figured out. I was trying to play around with. I'd realized that Pyrotechnic Performer is technically an assassin, which I find very interesting and very compelling. Particularly with Atrata, so that you can just steal stuff and then flip it face up for its cost. I was trying to make like a little Grixis deck work where you attack in with Pyrotechnic Performers, which are kind of using like Atrata as a lord and then just zodding your opponent. It's fun. I think that's a fun casual deck. It's not a competitive deck. I think that's kind of, I guess that's my issue, is I tend to want to build sort of fun casual concepts rather than ones that will actually win a game of Magic when push comes to shove. But yeah, so mask makers, scamps, to sort of get some early stuff down. You've got Kumano, because that's a great card. That's basically 4 damage for 1 mana. Doesn't always work out that way, but often does, especially with this deck. Sometimes works out to even more because of the value of that 1/1 counter for us. Monstrous Rage, good red card. We've seen it's great in combat, but for us, it's also dealing a whole bunch of extra damage on the flip ups. Play with Fire gives us a little option for playing around with removing some stuff, a little extra reach where we don't have to stick a creature, which also helps us scry. Sellsword lets us double up on our big things once they punch in. Codebreakers, little hasty boys that can also draw some cards late game if we're in a more grindy situation. Performers, linchpin of the deck that makes the Bone Brutes really brutal, and they themselves can be pretty bad. Or pretty brutal, there we go. Pretty bad for the opponent. Bone Brute, huge amount of damage. The extra 3 life when making them lose an extra 3 life when it dies is messed up. That is not okay. I thought it was kind of a bad card because of the conditions, the hoops to jump through for it, but just paying 3 on one turn and then paying 2 on another turn can be a little slow against other control matchups, but with the Mask Maker, it can come out a bit faster, and they don't always have it, especially if you spent your turn 3 playing a 2/2 with Disguise. A lot of folks aren't as worried about that, and it just flips up and deals a whole bunch of damage out of nowhere with the Pyrotechnic Performer being able to play that turn 2 and turn it face up. I mean, sometimes that's just 12 damage out of nowhere on turn 4. And even if they kill it, if they Sunfall, it's rough. But if they just try and kill it, it deals another 3 for 15. It's cool. And Voldaren Thrillseeker, I believe Legend VD had more of those. I forget what he had trimmed down. I do think that more of those is good. It's a nice redundant effect. It also adds extra power, which makes a big difference. I just didn't have the rare slots for it. And honestly, it's been running pretty fine with just this. I mean, yes, it is still 12 rares, 13 if you're counting the Thrillseeker plus lands. Like, it's not a budget deck. But if you've been playing a lot of Murders at Karlov Manor, I think it's a pretty great one for making stuff happen with a lot of cards that you probably already have. I mean, all of these Disguised Creatures are from the newest set, so I think Even if it's not necessarily budget, I think it's one that's probably accessible to folks who are just entering Arena, just picking up the game. Whereas I think the normal mono red deck, probably a little more eternal, probably a little more budget friendly if you're trying to have reusable pieces. But if you've done a lot of red black drafts and picked up these pieces, absolutely give this deck a shot. I'm having a blast with it. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. It's fun to have some folks along while I'm noodling around in the arena. Thank you. If I don't see you again for our 2 p.m. Baba is You, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. But for now, I must bid you adieu. Farewell, ta-ta, bye.